Every once in a while, you take one step closer to a goal that you once thought would change your life. Maybe it's getting good grades, or landing the job you've always wanted, or finally reaching the physique that you've been working towards. And for a moment, it feels like you've finally caught up with everybody else. But then, you look around, and somehow everyone still seems ahead to you. And what's strange is, this didn't just happen once. This happens after almost every single achievement. Why? Well, imagine your life as an elevator. Every achievement that you make takes you up into a new floor, opening you up into a new environment completely unfamiliar to the one before. You think that's the end of it. But the people change too, and the people that you used to immerse yourself with fade with that new step up. Thus, the people one step ahead become your new environment, and they become your standard of normalcy. You settle in, adapt, and as your environment changes, so do you. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that you measure your accomplishments on a new scale every single time you take a step forward. A common example is getting into college from high school and immediately looking at those of internships and thinking that you're behind. When you then get those internships, you're now immediately thinking that you're behind against those who are getting into top companies. See that cycle? But it happens because of what I think to be a baseline of maybe greed, pride, or a drive to prove something to yourself or others. Maybe it's all three rolled into one too. But there's no limit to what we stand to gain, and so the opportunity cost of not continuing to stay hungry and continuing to grow makes itself painfully clear. It's important to realize that with growth comes competition, and with competition comes growth. And although everyone has their own reasons, what I mean is that due to these reasons, some of which I listed already, you don't stay in the same race after you reach the next pit stop. You, sometimes unbeknownst to yourself, quietly enter a harder one with fiercer competitors, and you tell yourself that those are the people you need to chase after next. This becomes an endless cycle, an endless loop, and that explains a lot of why you feel behind for most people. But I don't actually think that's the whole story, because if simply seeing someone ahead was enough, then we'd constantly feel behind in every single part of our life. Yet, or at least what I like to believe, we don't really think that way. Think about it. If someone became an Olympic swimmer, would that make you feel behind? Probably not, right? What if someone else became a concert pianist? Again, would that make you feel behind? Probably not. But let's say someone gets that internship you wanted, or buys the house you've dreamed about, or attains that physique that you always wanted to gain for yourself, then it hurts. Why? Because you don't compare every single aspect of your life to others. You don't compartmentalize everything about you into one metric like gymnastics or competitive yo-yo. Well, assuming that you don't do those things. If you do, all power to you and there's nothing wrong with it. But what I mean is that you often compare the parts of life that you've decided to define who you are already. So the underlying reason behind why you feel so behind isn't just because of a lacking achievement alone. It's whether or not you've decided if that achievement actually says something about who you are. That's why the elevator only exists in certain parts of your life. Because every time your identity grows, your standards grow with it. So you don't just enter a new room. You immediately start measuring yourself against the people already inside it. You have assimilated yourself so much with the things that you think matter to you just because they matter to others. But sometimes, or most of the time, you don't even care about them. You just care about what they think of you. So I tell you, find what you value and progress in the aspects that you actually want to be fulfilled in. If the opinion of others actually fulfills who you are, then fine, make that your goal. But I'd like to think that most of the time, that's not the case. So that way, you base yourself on who you want to become, not what you think others want you to be. But even after knowing all of this, sometimes these feelings may not ever completely disappear. But you guys are smart people. I mean, a lot of you guys probably already know most of the things that I'm saying. And even while knowing all of this, sometimes this feeling of being left behind in every aspect of life still may never completely disappear. And I'll tell you, that's fine. But it's usually because every new achievement will still continuously introduce you to people who are even further ahead in whatever endeavor you're pursuing. That is, unfortunately and fortunately, the price of continuing to grow. That's part of humanity. But don't confuse entering a harder room with standing still, my friend. The only reason why you're surrounded by greater people today is because you've become greater too. I mean, just think about it. 5 years ago, the life that you're living today might have felt impossible, but your brain no longer measures from 5 years ago. It measures from where you are today to the person who's the closest in front of you. So maybe that's why progress feels so invisible to you. Not because it isn't happening, but because every step forward quietly changes what ahead looks like to you. But I'm telling y'all, please, 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 don't confuse being left behind as being stagnant. That's not the case. You're still moving, maybe at a different pace than others, but that's not important. You yourself decide how you want to be. You yourself decide how you want your journey to look like. Don't listen to the naysayers at all. Keep doing what you think is best. And if you sincerely believe that you're in dire need of change, then so be it. Work hard towards that new goal, but don't put yourself down just because you see someone faster. That's not how it works. And with that, that's all I have for you guys today, folks. So please, have a damn good day.